Welcome everyone, Simon here from the Wells Wall Street. Got a quick fire update video here on MultiVac MTV. People always ask me, are you still in MTV? What are you doing with MTV? Well, I'll tell you, I'm probably doing more myself with MTV than MTV are doing with themselves, basically. So, guys, MultiVac is one of the weirdest things of 2022. It's got a huge, bright future. It's still, in my opinion, having a great opportunity in front of it. It is obviously still building and developing. We've seen bits and pieces of information throughout the year, but the information is very sporadic. It's very selective. I mean, for example, here, if you look here, 29th of September, about a month ago, and there's been three posts on Twitter, for example. I know this is just Twitter, but in general, across the aspect of communications and social platforms, that's about as far as it goes. I'm not part of the Telegram group. I don't know whether I got banned like a year ago or something. I'm not sure. They did say they would try and remove that ban. I can't remember why now, but that that pretty much is what it is. As I said, technologically, when we did the intro videos in MultiVac, I was so impressed with the scalability perspectives and the ecosystem that we're going to try and build. And don't get me wrong, the ecosystem, bear in mind, this is a very early project, by the way, guys. But the ecosystem is something that will for sure develop. I'm certain of it. But nothing has really changed dramatically in 2022. So I can totally appreciate why there's so many people out there frustrated. But to answer your question, I am still buying MultiVac. I'm still trying to get towards the million mark. I think that's still the node price. I have to check. But I'm trying to get to the million mark, and I'm just going to hold because I'm in a loss with MultiVac, right, guys? And I'm trying to balance that book. I came into MultiVac too late, basically, last year because I was excited about the project. I was in the long run anyway, so I'm not really fussed about being in a loss because I think it will return and I think it will do well in the future. I could see potentially, 20, 30 cents in the next few years. But it needs to improve very significantly to keep in line with that target or that goal that I had in my mind for the last year and a half or so. But a couple of things that have been here in October, not huge amounts of news. I mean, Stealth Exchange, for example, is now apparently allowed over... MTV is basically available for exchange with 600 plus currencies. Interesting. So that's quite an interesting development. But one thing I wanted to pull out was this, that you can buy basically MTV and crypto in general directly through Gardarian. Okay, so this is very interesting because you're going to see a lot of this kind of thing happening over the next year or two, in my opinion. We've seen companies like Swiplux, for example, integrating with businesses, projects, games, companies in blockchain-related Web3 spaces. When we talk about how do we adopt and bring more mass into the space and bring more Web 2 users or whatever area of people those are in coming across to Web 3. And now there's more and more ability than ever before to buy currencies directly with bank card, directly into your wallets or directly into the platform that you are using. And this is really good. But bringing into this aspect here that our US-based users can now buy MTV directly with their debit or credit cards. That's a bit of a bonus for those that aren't used to exchanges or don't like using exchanges, but like certain technologies or assets, this becomes a bit more of a easier application, right? But in general, I'm still questioning and wondering why MultiVac has almost disappeared off the face of the earth in terms of its communication. I know they're developing. I can see it in the back end, through the scanners and the networks and the GitHubs and stuff like this. I know things are going on. And it could be that when we're out of this terrible market and there is a swing upwards, they start penetrating with more information. A lot of projects are doing that, guys. A lot of projects are utilizing this last year to develop heavy, using the funds they perhaps accumulated through VCs and other funding means, and putting that to work and potentially sacrificing the fact that actually us as retail investors are potentially not majorly important. That's an argument that could be had, that there is a utility to this token. The fact that you can hold it, like with any of the cryptocurrencies really, is a luxury. And it will have fluctuating circumstances based on things that happen in the market, things that happen with the project itself, with announcements, news, updates, evolutions, developments, stuff like that. So I have to be patient with MTV. As I say, I'm at a loss. There's no point in me selling right now. I could switch that loss into something else that perhaps is a bit more, in inverted commas, prestigious at this moment in time, but still a low price, and perhaps something that I feel that could retract that or bring that gain back up. But I wanted to try and hit that target of 1 million MTV. I think it's a good price point. In fact, on that topic, because there's not really much to talk about update wise with MTV, we'll go into that price point topic conversation. So MTV, guys, here in front of us right now, you'd be surprised, the week is up. The month and the 3 months isn't too bad. One positive thing about MTV right now, I'm just going to scale this out and put it back a bit. And this is how ridiculous it has been, by the way, of MTV. Look at this. Absolutely crazy. From the launch periods, etc., back here in 2019, high prices are very much around about 1 cent. But last year, of course, we saw the fantastic move upwards towards 3 cents. My long-term goal for around 2025 was about 27 cents. Just based on the algorithms of information and data from the fib retracements, based on its current regions at that time when I did those levels in. Will it get to that? We'll have to see. But as you can see, there is a huge amount of work to be done to get to those areas again. We are floating or fluctuating around the current prices of just above where we were back here in the early stages of 2021 and the late stages of 2020. So the current price point being 0.001, as I said, if I just zoom in slightly, these lower regions of 0.0003, you can see there's a lot less back here. So we have had some improvement. I know it sounds really silly, but this is actually quite similar to the veracity topic, actually. We've got to identify that as more things happen in the hype markets and more awareness becomes in, more volume comes in, right? Even if it's not the actual like realistic value of the project at that moment in time, in its history, in its perhaps its development and its criteria of project versus what it should be in real life. And that becomes apparent when we're in bear markets. They go to the value that they should be. And actually, one advantage right now of talking about MultiVac is that it is relatively bang on, really, with these lower support regions that we saw back here in 2020. This is what we're playing with right now. I'm going to zoom back in to this current area. It takes me a few seconds because it's that ridiculous. And you can see the bouncing effect for quite some time now, probably 6-7 months nearly. And loads of opportunity to accumulate, but also some opportunity there to take advantage of gains, but not huge. But if you've got the right allocations and amounts in there, for sure you can make some money off some of this. But for me, I don't really care about that. My long-term plan for MTV is over the next few years, potentially beyond, depending on how it performs. And I still have some belief left in MultiVac for the future. We just have to see if there's more communication potentially next year if the markets do swing around. That's something we have to review near the time. But in terms of the bouncing effects and within the fib retracement charts here, I've got a few. I've got a few based on macro levels and the longer term plans, and you can actually see a really interesting story here. On the macro level, we're bouncing around this particular area of 0.001 bang on and 0.0011. How ridiculous, by the way, am I sounding to talk about prices in this manner, because they're so ridiculously insignificant in the moves, and it takes me so long to say them. I may as well just, I don't know, MultiVac's just a weird one. Yeah, I can't really explain it more than that. But yeah, in general, for the aspiration of this video is we can see there are beginnings of some support mechanisms here. And if we get these support areas, we can start finally tailing this up. But look at the big gap we have got to get even to 0.2 of a cent all the way up here, guys. In fact, I have to scroll up. It's all the way up here. And that's ridiculous, really. So in theory, we can look at this in a positive way. I'm in a loss. I have an opportunity to reconnect. Maybe not as easy value-wise of a loss, but certainly accumulation of units versus what I had at the higher prices. That's obvious, right? We look at this data on the right side here. On the 1 year, we are 95% down. It couldn't really get any worse unless it went to minus 96 or 99 or who knows, way beyond that. I think it actually was way higher than that before. But my point being is that we're in a bit of a selling pattern still with MultiVac right now. We can see that on the data below in this area here. In fact, I just need to zoom in really close to show you this data properly. In fact, if I can grab this and move out, that'd be better. So you can just about see here, we're in the rough ending point of the sell-off, which is also identified here in the bars up here on the volume wise. But this is good to see because it might see a bit of a switch over. I'm not saying we're going into drastic numbers, but it's a nice feeling. It's a nice feeling and it's something good to see. The RSI's 48 day on the 14 day and 28 days is showing 47. Still around the middle ground really. I'd be wanting to wait maybe a couple more days to put a lot more in. But this indicator on the right side is what excites me the most. There's an opportunity if hopefully MultiVac do push more, communicate more, and stick to their technology and the markets as they swing around. This is a huge gap to fill. Not only that, we've got minus 95% to accumulate back. And then, hopefully, in a positive market, in a bull market, we will be going beyond that 95%. So you can start to imagine the numbers in your head of where we could potentially get to. Now, I'm just in the background going to run my calculator with the profit aspect. So currently, obviously, at this price point on the right-hand side here, 0.001. Okay, so we've got to sort of think about like what profits we could get from that. Now, we could probably see quite significant numbers if we jumped from 0.001 to even the previous prices that we just saw at those top levels, right, in the chart. So we've got a long way to go and a potentially really good opportunity to get some good results from this swing around. That's my thoughts. That's my thoughts on it, right? That's where I could see it potentially having a good opportunity at this moment in time. Accumulating as much as possible. I want to get to big levels of MTV so that if it does switch around in the long run, I've done the work here in the boring market. I call it the boring market because these are the best times to be buying when no one's talking about anything, because trust me, when you get to the bull markets or even the first initial stage of them, the frustration kicks in because you didn't do it earlier, and then the FOMO kicks in, and that's when people's strategies and mindsets disappear and they go off into the fairylands of how the bull run operates. So we've got to be cautious of this, guys, but just bear in mind and appreciate the current price points that we're at. It really depends, really. I've always said this is a high risk this year on this project because of the lack of communication. I'm going to be absolutely honest with this. And like I said, the only reason I'm still holding it is because I'm at a loss. I want to reverse that. And I will review that in a year or 2 years, or whenever it does switch around to a bull market. I will reassess everything as we go along. I'll always be honest with you. Every single video that we do, every single project that we cover, I will follow it all steps and tell you what I'm doing as well. We'll have to see with this one. Let us know in the comments below, because I know you all badger me for MTV videos and you all badger me to ask me if I'm still in it. I'm still here, guys, with MultiVac. I just don't really put it into videos because there's not anything to bloody talk about, basically. Simple as that. The market, I mean, look at the chart. It's just not really moving. All I can say is what I'm doing with it, and I'm still here with it. I still believe in it, and I believe that there's a big gain to be had from these areas onwards. How long that takes is down to the market, down to the world, down to people's awareness of it. Guarantee you, when we get back to those bull market areas, all the influencers and all the shillers kick in and Twitter, and you see these followers with like 100,000, 200,000 followers when actually they're all bots, but people just believe it anyway. That's when it all kicks up, guys. Let's see. Let's hope we're millionaires from this one. We'll have to see. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next MultiVac video. It's been a pleasure. Bye-bye.